Hello everyone, I'm Prajna Upadhyay, a PhD student at IIT Delhi. I work with Professor Ramanath, and today I'll be talking about our work Aspect-Based Academic Search using Domain-Specific Knowledge Bases. This is a joint work with Professor Srikanta Bedathur and Professor Tanmoy Chakraborty from IIT Delhi and has been published in last year's ECIR. So we work in the area of academic search where the goal is to retrieve a ranked list of relevant research papers for a query. Here you can see some research papers retrieved for the query Augmented Reality by Google Scholar, which is a popular academic search engine. Consider the case when the user wants to retrieve papers that are applications of augmented reality. In this case, augmented reality is the query and application is the aspect. And a paper titled An Augmented Reality Application for Studying Atomic Orbitals is relevant because this describes an application of augmented reality. If the aspect changes to algorithm, then a fast select detection algorithm for shadow volumes would be relevant because this describes an algorithm related to augmented reality. Now, why is this problem difficult? If we simply expand the query with the aspect term, we might not get the best results. In fact, the paper, An Augmented Reality Application for Studying Atomic Orbitals, is better than the top two documents retrieved by Google Scholar. On the other hand, if you look at a relevant document for autoencoder and application aspect, it might not contain the term application in the title or abstract. The relevance in fact is determined by the presence of the terms feature and selection because feature selection is known to be an application of autoencoder. So we need domain knowledge. Also, terms that are similar to the aspect term but are not exactly the aspect term may also indicate relevance. So we have to consider all these issues. So we solve this problem using the idea of language models. Let us understand it with an example. Consider you have a document about cats. This document will have a high probability of containing a term like cat or feline as compared to another term like apple. So you can actually define a probability distribution over all the terms in the vocabulary such that terms that are highly likely to appear in the document get high probability and those that are unlikely to appear in the document get very low probability. So this represents a language model for the document, and these documents are actually samples from this language model. So we can represent the document as well as the query using language models and then rank them based on the similarity. And this similarity can be computed using metrics such as k divergence. Since we have a query and aspect both, we have to determine the language model for the query and aspect. So this language model is determined using two distributions. The first one is determined by the aspect alone. This assigns high probability to terms that are similar to the aspect term. In this case, terms like application or usage, they get a high probability. The second component is determined by query and aspect both. In this case, terms like feature selection or face identification, they get a high probability because they are applications of autoencoder. So we can then mix these two distributions using the lambda parameter to obtain the final language model representation for the query and the aspect and rank the documents based on their similarity with this language model. Now let us come to the estimation. The aspect-dependent component is estimated using an annotated set of ground truth documents, while the query and aspect-dependent part is estimated using Technobase. So Technobase is a knowledge base in the domain of computer science. It was constructed by us and it can be downloaded from GitHub. So basically, we look for the relationship described by the aspect and assign high probability to entities that are connected from the queried entity and the relationship in Technobase. But since Technobase is sparse, we need to perform inferencing. We performed inferencing using metapaths to make our estimation more accurate. We performed a number of experiments to compare our technique with different baselines and aspects. Here we show the top ranked document retrieved by our technique and a baseline for application aspect for two queries. The baseline retrieves papers that contain the term application even if they are not relevant, while our technique retrieves papers relevant for the application aspect of the query. This shows that our mixture model technique is effective for aspect-based retrieval of research papers. Thank you.